information. Are we surprised that Belinda is going to nitpick?
Yeah.
I gave you feedback. You should read it.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
Belinda is nitpicky. We know this. We love this, right? You think about Mr. Belinda and your experience here at Calvary Chapel Christian School, and you go, man, that guy's just kind of, I don't know, nitpicky. Very, like, just nitpicky. Let's see, how can I expand this? Okay. So I have posted this for y'all. I have no clue how to get this sidebar on. So it will stay there forever. Ooh. You ready for this?
No way.
Whoa.
That
It's
is
like the remote
totally
actually
weird.
does something.
Oh.
Alright.
Not you.
I'm a rat. I'm being
What is that? No, you harassed her. I saw it as you walked.
I did not.
And even if you didn't, it's your fault now, because that's what I saw. Micah. Let's talk after class.
What are you doing?
In fact, let's pray. Prayer good. Prayer is a good idea. God, thank you for today. I pray that you would help us to finish well, as we've just got 1 hour left of school. Help us stay focused on the things that are important to you and to endure Belinda's nitpicks. In Jesus' name. Amen. Okay, nitpicks. Here we go. Sir, please move to this table. You're obviously having trouble focusing next to this. Okay. So, this is the sample that I have given you of what a collegiate poster will look like. It is 3 feet tall by 4 feet wide. And, yes. Collegiate. Collegiate. It's like Colgate, like the toothpaste, but with an extra L. Collegiate. Collegiate. Okay, hi. How's it going? Do you need something?
Wee.
I wanted to see how
Okay, I'm just nitpicking. Right? Am I not? I'm just nitpicking. It's not like
You
you're
haven't
not-
gotten straight to that yet, but
Yeah.
you had a
Cool.
monologue about it for a little
Alright, I did monologue. They got me monologuing again.
bit.
Alright, so nitpick. Here we go. If you have done a good job on your paper, then the board, no work whatsoever. Like, you've got this. Like, it should take you not more than 1 class period to finish your board. Why? Because you've written your paper, and all you're going to do is report it out. You don't have to write anything. You don't have to make any charts. You have to do nothing. Because your diagram of your setup, experimental setup, is so beautiful that, like, you are happy to put it on a 3x4, 3 foot by 4 foot board that's approximately this size. You're happy to blow that up. And your data, your graphs are just so, how do I put this nice? Like, flavorful, rich. I was gonna say succulent, but I wasn't gonna go there. They're like just, like you look at them and you're like, that's a graph. That you would present it in this size, right? Like, your stuff is on point, okay? If you've done a good job on your paper, you are copying and pasting into this thing, and you are done in less than 1 hour, okay? This is the final size of what it's gonna end up looking like. We're approximately at 3 foot by 4 foot right here on this board. So if I zoom out a little bit, that's volume. That was embarrassing. Yeah. I mean, it just is, right? You're like, you're being all nitpicky, and then you're like, that's the volume. Okay, this is about where we're at. So, this is the size of board that you're gonna have. Okay, this is about what size it's gonna be. Notice that most of this is illegible, which means
Bigger.
you should make the font size bigger so that it's actually readable. I think these are fine, but I would use at least 36 point font on everything. Now, people aren't gonna be way back there looking at your science fair project, but they will be 6 feet away.
It will be bad.
So they will be that far away. So you want to say, if you have some old man walking in, and they're standing right here, what can they reasonably read on your chart? Right?
You're also leaning back.
You probably can't.
They probably can't. Anyways, but I'm old, and I'm going to be standing 6 feet away reading your charts. So play with the sizes of your font so that it fills the space, it looks good, but it's also large enough to read well. Okay? Next, I want you guys to write your title there. Do not change the color. They're all going to look uniform. Okay?
Aww.
So, title goes there, fit it on one line. Your name, I know we never put names, now we do. You're in high school, this is like much more professional. You should be able to put your name on your work. Next, you will put the class name, my name, and leave Calvary Chapel Christian School. That not leave, well, seniors you will leave, but juniors you're stuck here. So, next, take the information from your introduction and pare it down to the only important parts. Okay? Why is this interesting? How is it useful? How is it, actually I left the spot for biblical applications, so you wouldn't necessarily put it there, but all of the research that you did, all of the things that led you up to your project, rip out the useless fluff that you put in there to make it 1 page long, and that goes here. I would highly encourage bullet points or statements that fit on 1 line at a time, okay? It's gonna be a little tricky to do. If you do 2 lines, it's not the end of the world. But you want just a few things here written. Don't just like copy and paste a paragraph in there, like bullet point lists or key talking points. You can even put pictures in here if you want to that demonstrate that you have a clue of even what you're talking about as we go into this project, okay? Then go into your objective and hypothesis. Your objective should fit there, your hypothesis should fit there. Does anything else go there? No, it's the objective and hypothesis box. Now, I will give it, you guys have tons of creative freedom with this. Like if you think that this looks like trash and you want to adjust, everything from this line up will remain the same. Anything from this line down, you guys can do whatever you want with. So if you want to make these bigger, if your objective box is really like too big, you can make this smaller, make your materials box bigger. If you wanted to like include pictures, like your diagram here, you could totally like do that and have like arrows that point to it and say like, this is this thing, this is this thing, and make it visually stunning, that's fine. If you want to combine these 2 boxes and just do one big procedure and results, or maybe your procedure fits down here and you want to use more room here, that's totally up to you. I would recommend at least 3 columns, so 1, 2, and 3, just so you have it broken up a little bit. So that's that. Take your materials, put them in here. Should it be a big block of text? No. So take your materials, put it in bullet point form, and get rid of all the useless garbage. Okay? I know that there's fluff in your papers. I understand that. I'm glad that you did it. It makes it look like you wrote a whole lot more than you actually did. But when we get to this board, I want like only the important things. So Esteban's project, where he did fire and put out fires, he really only has 2 things. Bunsen burner, sticky notes. That's it. Don't put Notepad, don't put Google Sheets, don't put word processing program. None of that matters. I want just the important things. So his material section is going to be really small. So maybe to beef that up and make this look significant, maybe that's where you put a picture of your setup so that you can see what was used and see how those pieces fit. Whereas others of you who have a million things, like Dylan Project has like 100 materials, right? He's got a PVC pipe, he has PVC glue, he has drill, he has like, and they're all necessary. So he can list those things and maybe just put like in parentheses for this. Obviously, we know what Esteban's fire source is for. We know what the sticky notes are for. Like, we don't have to go, or like Grace with cornstarch and water. Like, you don't have to go like, oh, and this very important device here. Like, it's cornstarch and water. Like, but if it's ambiguous as to why you have something there, So Noah, you had a bunch of weird stuff, and
Yeah.
you have like random things happening. That's a squirt bottle. What am I using a squirt bottle for? Oh, for spraying or whatever it might be. So if you need to add clarity there, that would be a good way to fill the space while still not like blasting them with paragraphs. Because, and this is the key, as you're presenting this, you want that to be your guide. So you can say, oh, cool, my materials were this, this, and this is how we used it. And this was important. Oh, we tried the wrong materials. And the experiment completely failed. And so we had to redo it with the correct things. So this is really important. If you point to those things and it helps you through your presentation, then you're set. Just think of each of these being like one slide on a presentation. And that's going to walk you through the things that you're verbally going to say and present in class for a grade. So, with that said, pare down your procedure to only the important things, right? Don't put like, enter this data on the table. But this is definitely the spot to put pictures, to put like what instruments look like. If your live demo doesn't actually have the thing you did in front of it, then this would be a good time for pictures. This would be a good time for Risa showing how many times she got cut by the glass while she was doing, you didn't get cut. No, that's good. Like blood spilling everywhere and like, right, so you want like this section to be full of, this is how my experiment actually looked, this is what happened, here are qualitative results, but use pictures, use visuals. If you need to go back and fake pictures to put them in here, that probably is going to be the most time intensive part of you doing your board, is getting like pictures that actually look good, that you really want to be this size. I mean, it's like a foot by a foot. Like this is a big chunk of your paper or your board that you're presenting to the world. Maybe you should take a better picture than the like little sketch that you drew on a napkin and took a picture of and put in your report. Like maybe kick it up a notch or go back into the lab and say, I really need a better picture of this. And so you get it on the right backdrop or you put it in the fume hood so it looks more professional. And then you take that picture with better lighting. That would be very helpful to you. Okay, results, obviously you need graphs. Graphs and data, and you're pointing things out on your graphs and data and using arrows. And like this is your opportunity to take it from where you presented your data and you wrote stuff about it. This is for you to visually present your data. So if you have a graph, put the graph there, but then instead of putting tons of words next to the graph, put like, hey, this is an important point, or hey, this thing matters. Put an arrow to it, put a call-out box, so that there's visual elements that are stunning that people want to look at. If you just kind of throw this together and copy and paste your whole report in here, I'm not printing it. Like that's how this goes. And then you're going to be standing there with your little 3D demo and be like, where's your board? Mr. Blended didn't print it because I had put no effort into it. You don't want to be that kid. Don't be the only one in the whole high school without their thing printed. Biblical applications, important, put them on top. If you still feel like your biblical application is a stretch, let's talk about it so it's not a stretch. I mean, that's it, because it's going to be right there. People are going to be like, oh, you learned patience. That's not a biblical application of your science fair project. We all learn patience. It's called dealing with each other every single day. I went there. That's fine.
We're not that bad.
Conclusions. You should have 2 to 3 conclusions. Okay, number 1, was the hypothesis accurate? Yes or no, and why? That goes here. So if you increase the conclusions a little bit to assess that, that's fine, but short and sweet. I'm going to expect you to know all of the stuff I'm saying. So you should write it, because you're going to forget. And then I'm going to go, and then that's how this goes down. Step 1, hypothesis. Step 2, what went well. Step 3, what went wrong. Okay? Those things should be like bullet point. Don't go over one line. Hypothesis was correct. Here's why. Hypothesis was wrong. Next line. Here's why. Here's what went right. Here's what went wrong. Went this, you would say, hey, we used the wrong stuff the first time. Experiment totally failed. You used the right equipment. Worked great. Next time, use the right equipment. Okay? Micah, you could be like, great, I did my experiment, but it would be even better if.
more.
Yeah, more trials would better fill this data or whatever it might be, okay? That goes in conclusions, and then acknowledgements, that's where you would put anything you quoted from the introduction on this. Don't just copy and paste your references page, because I'm sure that you are not quoting all of those references on this document. Okay, lots of pictures, lots of visuals. Remember, you are presenting to kindergartners.
Just kindergarten.
And you are presenting to uneducated people. And you are presenting to people who are very educated. And so, I heard that. Let's watch what we're saying about others. I don't think that's fun. Okay. So you have a wide range of audiences. You are going to have the engineers who are going to walk up and ask you millions of questions and nitpick everything. And then you have kindergartners who are looking for cool pictures because they can't read yet. And they definitely can't read the words that you're writing. So, I would encourage you, have a nice balance of pictures. And like, if you're going through your materials and you're like, I use a capillary tube. A kindergartner doesn't know they barely know what a tube is, let alone a capillary tube. Like, maybe you bring one and that's your visual, so you can say this is a capillary tube. Or you can include that in a picture of your materials or in your experimental setup, so you go, oh, that's a capillary tube. Okay, it's just a really small tube. So that allows you to reach all of your audience, including kindergartners. It allows you to reach high schoolers. It allows you to reach the engineers who are going to come and nitpick and ask a million questions because I'm sending them your way.
Are you really?
Yeah, why not? Every parent who's an engineer, I'm like, hey, check out the chemistry projects next door. Yeah.
Okay, a lot of questions.
Okay.
Material, if I use like 63 cups of flour, do you want me to put 63
Don't
cups
put
of
the
flour?
amounts,
Just
just
put
put
flour.
stuff. Yeah.
Second question, for the biblical application, is that the one we did in our conclusion, or is that the one we did in our, or introduction?
Or both.
Okay.
Yeah. Pick the ones that actually, like, this is the time in your lab report, you really shouldn't be putting like, I learned patience. Like, that doesn't belong in a formal lab report. That does belong when you're presenting and you're like, oh wow, I learned patience because I had to sit there and watch bread rise, which is just about as bad as watching paint dry. Like, and so that's where you would put those more personal reflections. You would put them on your board, not in your formal lab report paper.
Last question, sorry. For our demo, can it be like edible, or does it only have to be?
Can be edible, but there are 250 people in the school.
200 people.
250. So, the way I'm looking at it now is I'm going to send waves. So I'm going to send the kindergartners in first, and then I'm going to send first and second, and then third and fourth. So you'll get waves of like similar age level / understanding people coming through. The parents are coming first, so they're going to nitpick and make you feel like you know nothing, or be super supportive. And then we'll go up or down in difficulty, and then middle schoolers, they just want to make all this stuff. So, well, no, you're exploding stuff. You're gonna be the hit of the show.
I know what. How am I gonna? Should I bring it?
No, food will
Yeah.
always outshine.
Oh, that's true. You
Oh,
gotta
yeah.
be-
So
All right, Grace,
All right,
question.
awesome.
So you said it's more personalized, so does that mean we can use I in this?
In your biblical application?
Yeah. Okay, just know where that's, everything else is just super.
Well, you've already written everything,
Right.
so don't rewrite it and be like,
No, I'm
I
just saying
did.
like little things like rewriting things, so it's not just like this big chunk of paragraph. Just
Yeah.
like,
Try not to use I. If you use it in biblical application, that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, there's an 8-hour video of paying Ryan on YouTube.
What's up?
So like, are we gonna have like at least 5 minutes between waves? So you can watch it?
No.
It's like knowing for me, like I have to like place the things over time.
Yeah, you have to think through your demo to know that you're gonna have basically an hour straight of people coming through and asking about your stuff.
Just an hour. It's not that bad.
It is that bad.
Really,
It is that bad.
that's bad. You'll be fine.
I'll be like that.
You'll get really, really bored of saying your project
So-
a million times.
Let's talk deadline. Are there any other questions? Yeah. You wasted your question.
I'll ask you
8
after
hours
class
of
because
paint dry.
it doesn't.
Wasted.
I mean, after
Make good choices. Yeah.
For the live demo, can you
Might
like
take a
make
month.
it like very, very dumb? Like if it has something like, for example, my project has chemicals in it. Could I like bring in like water and paper and be like, this is what it does? Like, I mean, it's the same thing.
I mean, that's lame, but make it exciting, but don't use dangerous things. Yes. Yes, I know. You have to figure out yours to make it less dangerous.
No.
Yeah, what's up?
Is it all going to be like printed or whatever, or can we have a mixture of both our handwriting on it after it's printed?
You're in high school.
You do have.
There should be nothing handwritten anywhere.
So why are we taking notes?
Right?
No, type everything. So this is a Google slide which is provided for you. So you can put text boxes on here, you can put arrows on here, you can put like super fun shapes, you can change the colors, you can change the fonts. Yep, but from this gray line
Yes,
above, you will keep it
absolutely.
exactly the same.
Oh, so like we can erase the purple color, right?
Yeah, you can make it pink.
Yeah, but I might not approve it. So, okay. Esteban, answer to your question. Handwrite nothing. Because it looks unprofessional. And if the standard for our second grade presentations is that they have everything typed on their presentation boards, then the standard definitely for 12th graders is that you will not handwrite anything.
Use computers at second grade.
They will, because it's going to look professional and be done right.
Because they want to be engineers.
Making your B look weird.
Okay, what else? Sorry, that got real.
No handwriting.
It's against me specifically because I write my numbers and cursive.
Yeah, I really don't want your handwriting, to be honest, but.
Can I handwrite mine?
What else?
Cursive's free right there.
Yeah, Dylan has good
I
handwriting.
have.
All right, let's talk deadlines. So, officially on our science fair timeline, this is due on Monday,
Oh my gosh.
which is also our retreat, which is kind of lame. But
Having a retreat?
Yeah, we're going to
read the email. Okay, anyways,
Wait, I have a question for retreat.
you can raise your hand,
What
that's
is
fine.
it now?
All right, so this is officially due on Monday. Will I actually hold you to that? So here's the deal. On Tuesday, you will spend your class period fake presenting to each other. Okay? So I will have you at least do, the brave ones will present to the whole class, and then the less brave ones will present to each other. The goal for the presentation is about 2 minutes. You should cover everything. What does everything mean? Introduction, why you're interested in this, objective and hypothesis, don't care, a little bit of what you did, all of your results, biblical integration and conclusions. So you have 2 minutes to do all of that. I would encourage you, and I've already required you, to type that so you actually know what you're going to say. If you're like me and you type everything out, you will never say it. So if bullet points work better for you, and you go through your bullet points and say, here are the 3 things I need to hit here, here are the 2 things here are the 5 things here, point to the apparatus, that's fine too. So if you work better on bullet points, but you need to have it written and compiled so that you can present it well. So on Tuesday, that's what we'll be doing in class so that you guys can do that. So what am I saying about my Monday deadline? It's real, but it's fake. So if you don't do it till Tuesday, that's fine, but know that in class on Tuesday, you're going to walk up here and your slide is going to be put up. And if there's no slide there, you're going to go, that's my slide, and then you're going to talk for 2 minutes. So it would behoove you to do your slide.
I mean, copy Mr. McKibben.
I said behoove long before Mr. McKibben.
I
I said behoove long before Mr. McKibben learned.
No, Mr. Bland is more.
What's up?
Okay, do we have like hard bullet points on it, or do you want us to just memorize it?
The expectation for 5th grade and up is that you get no note cards.
Oh, that was for 5th.
Well, because you have your board there.
You have your board.
Your
And
board's like,
middle school's really
You're not
struggling.
making eye contact with.
High school.
Yeah, there you go.
I
Not
guess
just
the
middle
person in
school.
charge is not being here, like it's
Those high schools are hard.
Oh my god.
Thanks, Bobby.
No, they're a teacher.
Well, I'm officially in charge now.
I'm sorry.
No, not in charge of the event. The
Oh.
teacher is in charge of grading their stuff. They haven't
Interesting.
even written their results yet.
That's fine. Just because I'm on top of it and they're less,
Yeah, but they're all stressed out.
that's fine. They'll live.
Fifth graders.
Honestly,
they're
going
bad.
to my Calgary is like.
Moving on.
We were dead at practice.
Moving on.
And because of science.
That's okay. They made choices
Middle
too.
school's supposed to be
Alright,
easy.
so here's the deal. Here's what happens when you make middle school easy, then high school is horrible. If middle school's hard, then you go to high school and you're like, okay, at least for freshman and sophomore year, then it gets you going.
It just depends.
So, that's the board, that's the deadline. It will be submitted on Monday. I will nitpick. Okay, and I will also give you an indication of whether or not I am willing to print your board. So, if I nitpick, and I'm like, but I would still print it, okay, you have small changes to make. If I nitpick and I go, like, you put no effort into this, I'm not printing this, then that tells you that you have much revision to do. So, your paper, which is due today, is worth a test grade, and then this board, not your draft, but your final, like the final, is worth a test grade. So, the paper goes on this quarter, so you have till Friday, it's due today. If you turn it in tomorrow, it's 10% down. If you turn it in Friday, it's 20% down. If you turn it in Saturday, it's 0. So due Friday. Okay, so get it done Friday, because it's the end of the quarter. Okay, this draft Monday, you get the feedback, you make the changes, you got a good board. Yes?
Project title, do you want it to be the, like,
That'd be
scientific
good.
one? Or is it like creative one?
Creative would be better because mine's a little more.
Make it good.
No, it's not like yours.
Yeah, but like creative or scientific?
So imagine this. We will have all of these things printed, and I get to put up like 5 of them at the school. So like, what would you want to present for like months on end and walk by every single day at school? Like that's what you're thinking.
Funny, just funny.
Yeah, yeah.
Your semesters are actually.
Only 5 of us are to be presenting.
What? All of you are presenting.
Then why'd you say 5?
Only 5.
I'm probably only
Five
gonna put
is
5
being
up
showcased.
at the school.
Like,
I'll put the 4 best and then the 1 worst.
Don't tell them which it is.
Nice.
Horrible.
Or
I love
best.
that.
That's cute.
Because I have a cute title, but I don't know if I want it.
Alright, cool. So that's that.